It has been the best of times for the visiting team in these Western Conference Finals. The worst of times for the home team. Truly a strange tale of two cities. San Antonio was a far, far better place for the Houston Rockets in the first two games. There was talk of a sweep. But the Spurs struck back in Houston, stunning the Rockets twice. David Robinson displaying the full arsenal of his MVP talent, Dennis Rodman creating chaos. Now the defending champions must produce in another dire situation. But ask Utah and Phoenix about counting Houston out. Clutch City thrives on pressure. The winner tonight will be one step away from the NBA Finals.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1995 NBA playoffs. Tonight, it's Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals between the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs.
The sold-out Alamo Dome in San Antonio for the resumption of the battle between these two Texas Titans. The winner is one step closer to the championship round in the NBA. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to San Antonio. I'm Greg Gumbel. This Game 5 obviously has put us in a Dickens of a mood, and why not? It's a series that has broken all of the rules. The first 4 games have not gone as planned at all. The first 2 games took place here in San Antonio, and the Rockets came away winners. Robert Horry with a game-winning shot in the final seconds. Hakeem Olajuwon dominating Game 2. Games 3 and 4 in San Antonio went to the Spurs. Despite a big performance by Hakeem, the Spurs won by 5 and then dominated the backboards in Game 4. I'm joined this evening by Steve Jones and Bill Walton. Let's first talk to Bill about the Houston Rockets. Hakeem Olajuwon, the NBA's leading scorer in the playoffs, but can he do it all by himself?
I don't think so, Greg, because even though few have ever played the game of basketball as well as Hakeem has played this spring, his Sunday performance was subpar, and that begs the question, is Hakeem tired or has David Robinson figured out? Whatever it is, look for Hakeem with a vengeance tonight. On the other hand, the rest of his teammates, they've got to stand up and do something. This is one of the most prolific teams for three-point land in the history of basketball. Very solid games, 1 through 3 in Game 4, almost nothing. The reigning world championship team, it's all on the line for them tonight. Their shots have got to go down for them to have a chance to win.
All right, Bill. Meanwhile, for the San Antonio Spurs, David Robinson, obviously the main man for them, outplayed by Hakeem Olajuwon in the first 3 games of this series, but in Game 4, David proved that Mrs. Robinson didn't raise any dummies.
Well, that's right, Greg, and after having a front row seat and being torched and toyed with in the first 3 games, David Robinson finally figured Hakeem out. Offensively, he became the aggressor. He attacked the basket, he ran the floor, and he got Olajuwon back on his heels. At the defensive end, he didn't go for the first fake, and he was able to block his shot. The story of Game 4 was rebounding, and Dennis Rodman was huge in that one, and Rudy Tomjanovich is definitely concerned about the fact that they were dominated on the glass. For Dennis Rodman and company, it was an dominating effort, and that has got to change, but we have no Dennis Rodman, at least to start this game.
That is one of the keys to tonight's game. Some lineup changes. Joining us along the sidelines this evening, Hannah Storm. Let's check in with her. Hannah.
Well, Greg, Dennis Rodman will not be starting for the San Antonio Spurs tonight as part of a disciplinary measure imposed by Coach Bob Hill. Rodman was 35 minutes late for practice yesterday, didn't even call the team, and when he arrived said he was late because he had a stuffy head. Well, Coach Hill told me that Rodman is fine, at least physically, and that he informed Rodman after practice yesterday that he would not be starting. He said Rodman knows the drill. The same thing happened in Miami earlier this season. J.R. Reed will start for Rodman. Rodman will play in the game. How much will be dictated by the pace of the game. And on the Rockets side, Mario Elie starts at 3, Robert Horry at 4. They like Mario Elie's defensive intensity early on Sean Elliott. Those are the changes, Greg.
All right, Hannah, Dennis Rodman with his game face on. The question is, will he get into the game? Bob Costas to recap yesterday's Orlando, Indiana thriller when we come back in just a moment.
Hi, Bob Costas in New York. We'll send you to the tip-off of the Rockets and Spurs in just a moment. But first, a look back at yesterday's mind-bender in Indianapolis. The Pacers tying their best-of-7 with the Magic at 2 apiece with a 94-93 win that falls into the believe-it-or-not category. It featured 4 baskets in the last 13.3 seconds, any of which could have been the game winner, 3 of which were three-pointers. Marv Albert called it from Market Square Arena.
Say NBA basketball is fantastic. Usually there's one big shot and that kind of deflates everything, but you know, one shot, then Penny hits a shot, then Rick comes back. You know, that's given a lot of people at home in their quarterback chair a lot of heart attacks.
Yeah, 1.3 is you know, was enough time to at least get a little fake in there. And I figured let's see what he would do, either try to draw a foul or get him up in the air, which is what he did. And once I saw him go, I just kind of stepped through a little bit and just let the ball go.
I will give Ricky Smith the ball again, and I want to see him do that same move that he made in 1.3 seconds in our place, or any place besides Indiana. And that was amazing. It was truly amazing.
It was something, wasn't it? And some prescient comments, too, by Matt Gukas on the analysis. One of the big keys was the fact that Shaquille O'Neal had fouled out earlier in the fourth quarter, and it was the veteran Tree Rollins trying to defend Rick Smits. An exhilarating win for the Pacers, who would have gone down 3-1 had they lost. As it is, the series is tied at 2 with Game 5 tomorrow in Orlando. We'll talk live with Reggie Miller at halftime of tonight's game. Game 5 of the Rockets and Spurs is coming up from the Alamo Dome. Hakeem Olajuwon and the champs with a dreary performance in Game 4. They'll need to pick it up against David Robinson and the Spurs. The tip-off is coming up right after these messages.
5,000 on hand here in the Alamo Dome. Here are the starting lineups. Mario Elie gets to start alongside Robert Horry. Pete Chilcutt started the first 3 games of this series. Chucky Brown the 4th, and now Mario Elie. Olajuwon, Smith, and Drexler round out Houston's starting 5. For San Antonio, Sean Elliott. J.R. Reed starts in place of Dennis Rodman. Robinson in the middle, Avery Johnson, and Vinny Del Negro. Rudy Tomjanovich is the head coach of the Houston Rockets, and for the San Antonio Spurs in his first season here in San Antonio, Bob Hill. The officials for tonight's game: Hugh Evans, Jess Kersey, Bennett Salvatore. Bill, the Houston Rockets are the team that have to make the adjustment after 2 losses.
3 things. They've got to rebound the ball. They've got to solve the pick and roll offense of San Antonio, and they've got to deny the quick outlet to slow down the fast break.
Now, the one thing that San Antonio wants to remember is push the ball. If they can push the ball, they figure that they'll get their guards in the game, and they will wear the Houston Rockets down.
Avery Johnson's first shot doesn't go down, and Clyde Drexler will push it himself. And the Rockets slow it down. Drexler for 3.
Three-point shooting for Houston, so key. Drexler has been magnificent at times. He's also pulled some disappearing acts, particularly late in the game.
J.R. Reed kicks it out to Sean Elliott. Shot clock is at 7.
That's double dribble on Sean Elliott.
And whistle in the middle. And the foul is on 3-second violation on David Robinson.
And that's what the Houston Rockets want. They want the San Antonio Spurs to have to work in a half-court set. They feel that they can get them slowed down, they can crack their confidence, and they had their best early defensive rotation since Game 2.
Just underway, first period, Game 5 of the Western Conference Final. Olajuwon, jump hook is good.
Olajuwon right at Robinson. Very little faking, realizing that Robinson is in a patient, rhythmic defensive groove now.
Now let's see if they come back to pick and roll early and try to establish the guards and get David Robinson rolling to the hoop.
Robinson's fall away is good.
When that move becomes a staple for David Robinson rather than just something he goes to now and again, his game will be even greater than MVP level.
Robert Horry, top of the key. Thought he was fouled by J.R. Reed. If whistle didn't blow, three-pointer for Horry. 8-2 Houston.
This is shades of Game 3. They came out sizzling with three-point shots, and if they get their confidence up and they start raining threes, that's when you cannot beat the Houston Rockets.
This matchup, though, killed Houston in Game 4.
Del Negro's shot off, tapped out of bounds by Houston.
When you have Olajuwon down in this position and he gets single coverage, it's just a question of the decision he's going to make. David Robinson didn't take anything away, and he was able to score. Same story for David Robinson. He was able to get Olajuwon back on his heels. That's the reason the hoop goes in.
Offensive strategy. You have to have a plan when you're playing in the post there. I found what worked best was fake one way, come back the other, and get in the air.
22nd timeout. 9:47. Dennis Rodman still on the bench. Dennis Rodman, to reiterate, late for practice yesterday, and when he did arrive, complained of stuffiness in his head. Bob Hill excused him from practice. I meant congestion, Bill.
Now, some people might say that's a continuing problem with Dennis Rodman. I would not agree with that, though. Beautiful pass.
What?
Clyde Drexler on the move, down the lane, and score.
That pass didn't hit the side of the backboard, did it?
No, it hit the rim. The rim got in the way. It was one of those moving baskets they talk about in the future of basketball. Isn't that what finally slowed Shaq down?
Avery Johnson, and on the pick and roll, Kenny Smith is guilty of the foul.
Two different guys. Clyde Drexler in the open court here at the Alamo Dome has been really a thorn in the side of the Houston Rockets, and he's the most dangerous player the Rockets have out in an open court, and let's see if they continue to try to push through him.
Vinny Del Negro down low to Robinson, the double team, and he's fouled.
Steve, you got Clyde Drexler off to a hot start. It's a situation where I think Rudy Tomjanovich plays him the whole game today. No substitution. That's what they traded him for.
Well, we got to worry about fouls because he does get in foul trouble.
Just stop playing defense. He's got it going offensively.
Kenny Smith with a seat on the bench, his second personal foul this evening, and onto the floor comes Sam Cassell.
A guy who built his entire career on defense is now playing offense.
Del Negro with Mario Ellie on him, and now to Robinson, who'll take the jumper. David Robinson with 4, 10-4 Houston. Olajuwon right back at them. The jump hook doesn't fall. Robinson with the rebound.
There's that quick outlet.
Sean Elliott.
Clyde was begging for the ball earlier, and now they're going to have to go to a set. He likes to try to drive it and then call a charge.
Drexler protesting the call to Jess Kersey, not going to win it.
Robinson will slide with him on the high pick and roll. Not a lot of contact here. Good play to just let go. And you got 7-footers flopping down at the free throw line trying to draw charges.
8.5 to play, first period. Rockets lead at 10-4. Elliott across the lane and lost it out of bounds.
With the exception of David Robinson, the rest of the San Antonio Spurs seem a little tight, a little nervous about the start of this game. So Robinson may have to carry him until either Benny Del Negro, Avery Johnson, or Sean Elliott can get a hoop.
And there's our first illegal defense call of the night. It goes against the San Antonio Spurs.
Steve, your point begs the question, how long does Bob Hill leave Dennis Rodman on the bench? You got a guy who's dying to play, who's a big game player.
Well, right now, this game requires offense, so he's got to see some guys score some points. And unless they're just going to miss and think about extra possession, Rodman's fine right where he is.
Olajuwon has 4, and it's 12-4 Houston. Avery Johnson on the move.
Avery Johnson having a spectacular game, 3 and 4, needs to have that continue. The backcourt play for San Antonio has been decisive.
Olajuwon with the jumper. And J.R. Reed has the ball.
Good defense, Sam Cassell denying the transition play.
Remember in game 4, the Rockets were very slow in getting back. All of the red jerseys have been back after they lost possession of the basketball.
Shot clock is at 3. Robinson has to cast off top of the key, in and out. And Horry has the ball.
Horry has come to play today.
Avery Johnson with the steal. 2-on-1. Robinson.
Houston will live with that. Now come right back and dump it into Hakeem.
Cassell off the mark, and here comes San Antonio again. Up-tempo game. Avery Johnson. Houston takes time.
Sam Cassell made a mistake with the ball, and Avery Johnson made a nice read, and that early push that they've been looking for results in an easy scoring opportunity for David Robinson. You got to stop the ball, and if you don't, Avery Johnson's going to toast you.
Spurs close to within 2 with 6:23 to play in the first. Founder, but not in the starting lineup tonight. Certainly one of the more enigmatic players around the league. He gets all kinds of press, good and bad. When we sat down and talked with Dennis, he told us, yeah, there's a reason why he does the things he does.
It's always a reason to my madness. Always. It's something there to always bring this team to another level. Always. If it's a motorcycle accident, or if I do something, if I do this and that, well, people don't understand that. They think that, oh, he's crazy, he's doing it just for attention. No. I don't have to do that, because if I wanted attention, I'd be in front of cameras every damn day, and I can do that.
Comments, gentlemen.
Dennis Rodman's perfect scenario for today's game. He's serving the benching for not showing up on time would be to have the team get off to a poor start, and then the White Knight comes into the rescue. The team is playing well right now. Bob Hill's going to keep him on the bench where he belongs.
Well, this is a situation just like Los Angeles revisited. Rodman is going to sit there, and Hill is going to make sure that he understands that he's got to be part of the team, and they can win without him. They've gotten themselves back in the game, and the only time you're going to need him is if you've got a hot offensive player or the rebound is going toward Houston.
Shot clock is at 1, and he didn't get it off. the court with 18 seconds remaining on the shot clock instead of 24.
And it is so loud in here at the Alamo Dome with 35,000. Very difficult to hear any communication from the bench.
Third turnover of the night by Houston. Pick and roll. Del Negro takes the shot. That's short.
San Antonio's got nothing out of the pick and roll, which was their bread and butter all game 4.
Well, they're going to stay with it, but one of the guys they got to get in the game is Sam Cassell. Drexler is off to a great start, and he's going to do what he needs to do, but they need a guard, either Smith or Cassell, to get in the game.
Clyde Drexler 3 for 3, and Sean Elliott gets inside.
Clyde Drexler obviously taking our advice and not playing any defense out there.
I thought you said it was hard to hear in here. You heard that all the way over here?
Clyde's a smart guy.
Robert Horry for 3.
Horry's done more in this game today in the first 6 minutes, 7 minutes now, to get an entire game 4.
17-12, Houston by 5. And we are under 5 minutes to play for the first. Elliott. That's an offensive foul. And Dennis Rodman comes off the San Antonio bench.
And David Robinson walked right over and patted him on the behind and said, "Let's go."
Sam Cassell. Here come the Spurs.
Ellie with an attempt to cut the outlet pass.
You could tell from the response that the crowd gives Rodman that he's obviously very popular. All of Rodman's merchandising outsells everybody down here. He's probably 3rd in the league behind O'Neal and Michael Jordan. So this is a very popular guy who's living in his own little world.
Cassell got the bucket and the foul.
Now, when that guy gets into the game, the Houston Rockets game elevates dramatically. He has the ability to score and push and penetrate. This is a big hoop. Remember Game 7 in Phoenix. Sam Cassell was a vital part of that rescue mission.
Cassell, the three-point play, makes it 20-12 Houston.
I really like what Rudy Tomjanovich is doing here. He's just going with basketball players, not concerned about size, matchup.
And Dennis Rodman, the rebounder, gets on the scoreboard.
There's that one-dimensional player you're talking about, Steve.
Olajuwon, fall away, got the bucket and the foul. Let's go back to Dennis Rodman.
Since Rodman was late for practice yesterday, he's been the first one in attendance for every other meeting. First one to check into the hotel, first one to the team meal, but I don't care how early you get there, nobody can deal with that. Face.
So we're going to see how many more driving layups Dennis Rodman gets tonight.
Olajuwon gets the roll. He has 7 points tonight. And the Rockets lead at 23-14.
Now Cassell's job on Avery Johnson to be able to keep him in front, not let him down the lane.
Steal by Drexler. 3-on-2 Rockets. Cassell will keep it. Comes up short. Drexler. And the whistle comes before the shot. The foul is on Sean Elliott. That's number 2 on Elliott.
Steve, we've seen Clyde Drexler throughout the course of his career. When he is at his best, he is on the glass, inside, sticking back offensive rebounds. That keys his game, I think, more than anything else.
Well, he's a terrific all-around player, but when he's in the open court, because of his quickness and his jumping ability, he's going to be able to get to the glass. And that time, that ball was missed, and he was the first one there, drew the foul. Sean Elliott has had problems in previous games, goes to the bench early. They bring in Willie Anderson. They give up a lot of offensive punch when Sean Elliott goes to the bench. So that means that David Robinson's going to have to pick it up.
Cassell gets to the baseline, kicks it back outside to Ellie. And Ori chases it down. Feeds Ellie on the drive. 25-14 Houston. Timeout San Antonio. 3 minutes, 23 seconds to play. The Rockets on an 11-2 run, and you're watching the NBA on NBC. It has been another quick start tonight for Clyde Drexler. 7 points, 3 out of 3 from the floor. In fact, that has been very much what he has done throughout this series against San Antonio. You take a look at Drexler's numbers. He is shooting a whopping 73% in the first quarter of the games against the Spurs. But take a look at how the numbers decline. Down to 67% in the second, 40% in the third, and he has hit just 1 of 16 field goal attempts in the fourth quarters of the first 4 games. Meanwhile, Houston on a roll, 11-2. They lead it 25-14. We're approaching 3:15 to play here in the first. And Drexler with a steal, checks it down, and scores.
What an unbelievable turnaround for Houston. For the second half of Game 3 and basically the entire Game 4, nothing. And now they're playing perfect basketball.
They brought that aggressive energy with them, and once they've gotten off to a good start, their confidence is way up, and they're being accommodated by the San Antonio Spurs and the fact that they're making mistakes and playing tentative.
Mario Ellie, and he draws the foul from Willie Anderson. Let's go back to Clyde Drexler, who has recovered from a dismal Game 4 in which he registered just 12 points.
He's recovered from a lot more than that. This is a guy who's battled back from left knee surgery, right hamstring injuries that have saddled him the last couple years in Portland. Been healthy as can be, and he's worked on his overall game.
Drexler's always been good in the passing lane. If you lay a ball out there, he's been one of the quickest to get it. His quickness evident in that particular play, but he is fired up. He must have heard you talking about it.
Much like James Worthy was great up in the passing lane from the great Laker teams in the past. Now Clyde Drexler's got Hakeem Olajuwon to erase all the misses on those gambles.
Ellie, 1 out of 2 on that trip to the line. The Rockets have doubled up the Spurs, 28-14, as we approach 2.5 to play here in the first. Batted away from behind by Olajuwon. Drexler and Cassell will slow it down.
Good decision-making throughout for Houston.
Hakeem, fade away. And Rodman with his first board of the night.
But again, not the quick outlet. Rodman generally dribble drives that up to ignite the break.
This is a slower San Antonio team than the one we saw Sunday in the victory in Houston. Robinson traveled.
They close down the lane, but notice the defensive awareness of the Houston Rockets. They're reacting to everything where in Game 3 in the second half they were not. In Game 4 during the entire game they were not.
Under 2 minutes to play here in the first.
What might need to happen for San Antonio on that pick and roll is to pull up at the foul line, hit a couple jumpers. They're trying to get all the way to the hoop. It's not working.
Olajuwon will take the jumper and in.
Talking about pulling up. How do you guard that?
9 for Hakeem.
Don't let him catch it. That's the best way to do it. Now, David Robinson has got to assume some offensive responsibility right here and get his team some more hoops.
Avery Johnson. Nice shot by Johnson. Avery Johnson has 6. Drexler, 3. Front of the rim, and Person with the rebound.
That may appear to be a bad shot, but that is the way Houston plays. They take more threes than anyone.
Let's go back to Avery Johnson.
The strength of Avery Johnson's game is penetration and driving the ball, and when you're gambling, you leave yourself open. Houston gambled, hoping that Olajuwon would be able to wipe that one out, and Avery Johnson made him pay. That's 6 1/4 for Avery Johnson. They've all been layups.
That's one of the reasons why he's one of the leading field goal percentage shooters in basketball.
55 seconds to play here in the first. Johnson on the drive again, this time to the right hand. Rodman missed the tip. Hakeem comes down with it.
Now you walk it up a little bit, play some tempo, dump it into Hakeem.
Cassell, the whistle blew out front. The foul is on Johnson.
Steve, you mentioned earlier that one of the ways you slow down Hakeem is to not let him touch it. Well, that was a lot easier when they had guys like Vernon Maxwell on the team. Vernon, you could just convince him that he would be shooting the ball all the time. He should be. Vernon, of course, voluntary leave of absence from the team, dissatisfied with his playing time.
Add to that Carl Herrera's absence from the roster due to a dislocated right shoulder, and the Houston Rockets have been playing most of these playoffs with a 10-man team.
Cassell came in early and has done the job against Avery Johnson. Look at him come down and slow him up. And they didn't do that enough in Game 4.
Chuck Person, way long. Rodman back up with it. And he'll go to the line.
David Robinson calling everybody together at the foul line, saying, play with our heads, guys.
Well, Rodman and Robinson know that it's a 48-minute game, and a team can sprint out early and be caught. And there's a big advantage right now, plus 16 for the Houston Rockets. But if San Antonio can just keep pushing, they have a chance to eat into that lead, and that's what their hope is starting with the second quarter.
You know, there is a common belief that Dennis Rodman doesn't care one iota what happens with this team. He spoke up at a practice session a few days ago as far as how to guard Hakeem Olajuwon, and the team took it to heart and put it to good use in Game 4.
Bob Hill wants that out of Dennis Rodman, but Dennis hasn't said a word all year about it. Hill's been begging for something all season. Rodman finally the other day said something. Here's how we should guard Hakeem. Here's how we should rotate. And it worked in Game 3 and 4.
10 seconds for the quarter, 6 on the shot clock. 3 on the shot clock. Cassell, and the whistle blew. 3-second violation.
Houston has not made many mistakes in this first quarter, but they have made a couple of shot clock violations, so they got to be aware of clock situations. Someone's got to yell out, and they usually have a color or number that they yell to get the ball in the air.
Rodman's pass stolen. Robert Horry for Cassell, and it didn't go.
They had a lot of time. Rodman got the rebound, though.
Well, Phi Slamma Jamma, the charter members from the University of Houston, Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon leading the way after one. The Rockets lead the Spurs 32-18. We'll be back with the second quarter at the Alamo Dome. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
The 1995 NBA playoffs on NBC.
Welcome back to the Alamo Dome, where the Houston Rockets lead the hometown Spurs 32-18. A very animated Bob Hill in the recent huddles with San Antonio, telling his team they've got to play harder, be more aggressive. He's especially concerned about their rebounding. They're being out-rebounded by the Rockets right now. He wants that big rebounding edge that they had in Game 4. Part of the reason for that, Dennis Rodman not starting, and I did speak with Rodman just prior to tip-off. He insists that he is not feeling well and does have a bad head cold. The team says they would have accepted that as an explanation for him being late for practice yesterday. If only he had called, Greg.
All right, Hannah. Rudy Tomjanovich says that in the Game 4 victory by the Spurs, Dennis Rodman was the difference with 12 points, 19 rebounds, and 12 of them on the offensive board. Houston out rebounding San Antonio. Perhaps the biggest thing hurting the Spurs right now, they've turned the ball over 8 times, and they average just 14 a game so far in these playoffs.
They have made mistakes with the basketball, and they haven't been the aggressors. Drexler just picked up a foul against Doc Rivers on the post and gets another one. So Doc Rivers having a tough time.
That's number 2 on Rivers.
Now there's a temptation to go right back to Drexler in the same situation. I would go away from that, though. The refs have called 2 on Rivers. They're not going to call a third. Temptation would be the opportunity for the ref to call an offensive foul in this situation.
Chucky Brown to the glass, missed it. Here comes Rodman. And the double team on Elliott in the corner. corner, batted away from him and picked off by the Rockets. Turnover number 9 by the Spurs. Drexler off the baseline, no good. Robinson is there.
That was a very tough shot. He was thinking pass the whole time. Nobody reacted, forced to put it up.
Doc Rivers has given this team life in the short minutes that he's played. Let's see if it happens again. David Robinson drawing the foul against Olajuwon.
That's number 1 on Hakeem.
Whenever you have to take a mouthpiece out, you know you're not happy with what the officials call. The arm going across the body of David Robinson. Olajuwon doesn't agree, but Robinson will be at the line.
Good recognition by Robinson, though. He saw Hakeem off balance with his arms extended. He just ripped his arms with the ball back up through Olajuwon's extended arm.
Robinson misses his first. The MVP of the NBA this season, and what a year he had. 3rd in scoring, 4th in blocked shots, 7th in rebounding. Hits 1 out of 2.
Still, the San Antonio offense so stagnant. No run to it, no flow to it, no outside shooting. All the fouls going in favor of the Houston Rockets.
Well, now that's a 3rd, this one against Dennis Rodman. So now what the Rockets need to be thinking is drive this ball. Now they're trying to set a screen. Now watch Rodman lock up. And this is where players usually get frustrated and throw their arms. This time Chucky Brown maintained some sort of composure, and the whistle goes against Rodman.
Dennis Rodman and Chucky Brown had a few words in Houston in Game 4 on Sunday. Drexler. Follow-up. Short. Robinson comes away with it again.
Excellent defense, Doc Rivers.
And there is Brown and Rodman again. This one goes against Chucky Brown.
Remember, lock up. Now watch Rodman grab. And then Chucky Brown reacts in a bad way this time and pushes.
That's a flop by Rodman. That's not a foul.
If you push, it's a foul.
Doc Rivers open for the 3. He hit 2 out of 2 from 3-point range on Sunday in Game 4. He hits his first attempt here tonight.
First successful pick and roll. Come over the top, down the lane, and then dish.
Ori, no. Chucky Brown keeps it alive. Tap back to Ori.
Now right here they should clear. Even though Rodman is guarding Olajuwon, Sam Cassell could have got the 3rd foul against Sean Elliott.
The double team on Hakeem. Cassell for 3. And that belongs to the Spurs. Timeout on the floor. The Rockets lead it 32-22. 9:45 to play in the first.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By McDonald's, the official break of the NBA. Have you had your break today? And by Network MCI Business. Install it in your office today.
As we welcome you back to San Antonio, Texas, the Rockets lead the Spurs by 10, 32-22. We're talking about the Spurs' bread and butter being the pick and roll. Tell us about it, Steve.
All right, in games 3 and 4, they discovered if they bring David Robinson in here for Vinny Del Negro, they can get Del Negro in the middle and get Sam Cassell to come in here, which means Doc Rivers will be over there for the 3-pointer. And that's the way that the Spurs have been able to get back in it. The defense collapses. Doc Rivers wide open. He banged a couple of those in game 4, and that has been a money shot for him. And they've gotten 4 quick points and cut the lead down to 10.
Spurs have scored 6 straight points. Meanwhile, the Rockets have gone cold. They have missed their last 8 shots from the field.
Houston has to stay aggressive offensively. Their attack has to be, we're going to win this game by 20 points, not by 1 at the very end.
Del Negro tried to flip it back to Robinson.
Terrible pass, Del Negro.
That's 10 turnovers by San Antonio. We still have 9+ minutes to play here in the first half.
Ori again was calling for the ball down on a post, and they went away from him, and now they work a pick and roll against the shot clock.
Olajuwon hits the jumper.
That is flawless execution. And Hakeem utilizing new weapons year by year, now with the perimeter jumper from distance.
Doc Rivers finds himself open and hits. Doc Rivers put in 10 minutes of playing time in Game 4 Sunday and came away with 13 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a block. Good bench.
Well, the San Antonio bench has been vastly superior, as you would expect, after the first 2 games.
Olajuwon again with the long-range jumper.
David Robinson has to start scratching his head. I thought I had this guy figured out after Game 4.
Well, he does, but he's given them 2 real deep shots, and the big fella's knocked them down, but both teams have gone to pick and roll to get scoring chances.
That shot does not count. 3-second violation against the Spurs. Let's go back and look at Hakeem's jumper.
Now, you see how deep he is out on the floor. You would give him that shot.
There's nothing you can do. The guy's 7 foot tall. You got to give him that shot. But Dennis Rodman gets called for the 3 seconds because he's trying to establish that deep post position for the offensive rebound attempt.
See, they're using Olajuwon, and that takes David Robinson out of the middle, but a big recovery that time.
David Robinson came a long ways to get the block. Rivers on the drive, through the foul. Looks like Cassell is the guilty party.
When the guard comes down the lane, if he's thinking double clutch, like Sam Cassell is there, that gets sent back time and time again. Robinson in a patient groove, just waiting, slaps it away off to the races. Starting the fast break, the best part of basketball.
Cassell on the bench with his second personal, and Kenny Smith back on the floor. He's also playing too. Rivers again.
They got to realize they can't leave Doc Rivers. All Rivers comes out an hour early and does nothing but shoot. He's made 3 straight shots. He's 2 for 2 in 3-pointers. So they got to cover him.
How about keeping your man in front of you so he can't just drive to the hoop and force the defense to collapse?
Olajuwon across the lane, hits again. Hakeem Olajuwon gives the Rockets a 38-27 lead. He has 15.
He must have been tired on Sunday because this is an incredibly different Hakeem Olajuwon tonight. This is a man on a mission here, driving to the hoop after hitting his jumpers, sees the whole play. And that's what Clyde Drexler and Michael Jordan do, and this man is 7 feet tall.
Foul is on Robert Horry. That's his first. He goes to the bench. Clyde Drexler back on the floor. So Houston has Drexler, Chucky Brown, Kenny Smith, Mario Ellie, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Rivers. Tough shot.
The strength and quickness of Hakeem Olajuwon's hands. Whenever the ball is anywhere in his vicinity, he comes out with it.
Back to the pick and roll.
Kenny Smith then kicks it back to Olajuwon. Tipped by Rodman, grabbed by Robinson.
That was a heat check by Olajuwon.
Elliott back to Avery Johnson. And Doc Rivers was sent flying. The basket counts.
Kenny Smith, careless fouls. Now he's got 3. Rudy Tomjanovich shorthanded to begin with.
6:34 to play, first half. Rockets lead at 38-29, and this is the NBA on NBC. That huge curtain divides the Alamo Dome in half, much like the Palace in Auburn Hills, the home of the Detroit Pistons. Behind that curtain, part of a football field and some empty seats, which will be sold in front of a video screen should the Spurs reach the finals. Meanwhile, back to that last play.
The thing that happened on that play was Kenny Smith was so concerned about making sure that he had a body on Doc Rivers and not letting him get the rebound. He pushed him down. Now they have a chance for a 4-point play.
Let's check in with Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Well, Greg, Bob Hill remains convinced and keeps convincing his team every time out that they need to keep this tempo up and wear the Rockets down. He says they're physically exhausted. He says we can wear them down and we'll be fine. And Avery Johnson urging his teammates, finish up this quarter strong. This is our tempo, Greg.
Thanks, Hannah. Right now, Hakeem Olajuwon showing no signs of wear and tear. 15 points, 6 rebounds.
Well, what the Rockets had in the first quarter was good scoring balance. They haven't had it so far. Drexler trying to get back on the scoreboard, and they're lucky to get that one back. Olajuwon is the only player that has scored in the quarter for them. He has all 6 of their points.
Finally, Rudy Tomjanovich has got Drexler back in the game. Rotation really plagued for Rudy with the fouls on Kenny Smith.
Shot clock winding down. Mario Elie on the run. No tap, no good by Chucky Brown. And Cassell brings it back out. See what Houston and San Antonio are doing this quarter. It doesn't bode well for the Rockets, especially when Hakeem misses in close like that.
First spin move of the night for Hakeem.
What a quick feed from Avery Johnson to David Robinson. What's the adage in the game? You move without the ball, good things will happen.
Big men run the floor like that. Hakeem a little slow getting back, trying to regain his balance. Robinson, like Hakeem, 2 of the greatest big men runners in the history of basketball.
Olajuwon's mistake was after he missed, he didn't take off, and David Robinson did beat him, and Avery Johnson loves to beat him coming to the basket.
Drexler spins inside and scores again.
See, now they're allowing San Antonio to get right back up in their face. You got to oh, Rodman picks up a foul.
Let's go back talking about the running big man. Let's go back to David Robinson.
Now, see, Olajuwon allows David Robinson to outlet it. Now he's already got 3 steps on him, and he will try to get back, but it's too late. Elie doesn't get there in time. Robinson over the top. Clyde Drexler back down on the post, takes the baseline, and Sean Elliott not playing him tough because he's got 2 fouls, doesn't want to pick up the 3rd.
The Rockets have been much better tonight when they have not pump faked at the basket. Rodman can't get the free throw to drop.
Rodman shooting just 55% from the line in this series. Hits 1 out of 2.
Both big men have gone the entire game. That hurts San Antonio's rotation much more than Houston's.
Now Rodman's guarding Drexler, so that means that Robert Horry should be looking to slash to the basket against Sean Elliott.
Shot clock is at 7. Horry outside, tried to get it in to Olajuwon, tipped away. And that'll be a blocking foul on Drexler at midcourt. That is number 3 on Clyde Drexler. With 5:04 to play here in the first half.
This is one that probably shouldn't have been called. Now you watch Drexler tries to get him. There's no contact. He bails, but the whistle goes against him. But Sean Elliott did a nice job of avoiding any kind of collision.
You can't come into a game thinking you're going to be taking charges out there.
And what Houston did well in the first quarter, they're not doing well here in the second. Collectively as a team, they were all getting back and then coming back out and defending. Now they're trying to gamble in the backcourt, leaving themselves exposed, hoping that they're either going to get a steal or a call. It isn't working.
The Spurs are within 5, 40-35. We have 5 minutes exactly to play here in the first half.
Plus, Houston was making their shots in the first quarter. Their percentage plummeting.
That foul on David Robinson, that's number 2.
Big stretch of time has gone by. Right at the top of the second quarter, 3 team fouls against the San Antonio Spurs. They don't get the 4th for another 6 minutes. So they were able to go a long time and make big hay without seeing a penalty thrown against them. Robinson down, Terry Cummings in for the first time.
What Houston needs to do now is capitalize on Hakeem Olajuwon. Pound it in right now and let him attack without waiting for the double team. Let him take Cummings time and time again. Don't waste these minutes for Hakeem while Robinson's on the bench.
Houston is yet to go to the free throw line here in the second quarter. Olajuwon inside, and now he will go and shoot the Rockets' first free throws of this second quarter. Number 1 on Cummings.
Cummings has had to change his low post defensive game. When he played forward, he used to always try to gamble and slide around to the side and poke the ball away. And with greater quickness on younger, fresher, healthier legs, he was good at it. Has anyone ever played better in the playoffs than Hakeem Olajuwon this year? Michael Jordan, Jerry West.
Sparkling 53% from the field. He misses the second. 41-35. Houston by 6.
In this last 4 minutes of play, Houston's got to recover their defensive energy and get some stops.
Good defense, Ellie.
Terry Cummings on the drive. Terry Cummings in his 13th season out of DePaul University cuts Houston's lead to 4.
So they've gone from a 16-point advantage. Olajuwon just got knocked down. No call.
Goes inside, draws the foul. That's number 2 on Terry Cummings.
Cummings, who's always liked to go left off the drive, doesn't have the explosion, tries to keep at the other end. Olajuwon from the deep post position. Not a lot you can do here. The collapsing defense, the fouling, hacking defense.
Olajuwon and Jess Kersey got into it because Cummings had knocked him down prior to that. No whistle. He got back up and then reestablished the post. So right after the call, Olajuwon's in Jess Kersey's face. See if he gets more calls over the final 4 minutes.
Hakeem showing those well-developed soccer skills that he played as a young man in his native Nigeria.
People tend to forget Hakeem Olajuwon played just 1 year of basketball in his earlier years in high school.
Good possibility. Negotiations presently underway for Hakeem to play with the U.S. Olympic team. Became a citizen a few years ago.
Olajuwon 3 for 5 from the line. 42-37. Houston by 5. 4 minutes to play. Cummings' shot is too much. And Chucky Brown rebounds.
That's a good shot, though, for Cummings. He's got to be involved, attack Olajuwon, don't let him roam, and play the team defense.
Sam Cassell for 3.
That's a big shot because Houston has been struggling. Drexler on the bench. Smith has given him nothing. Horry is cooled off.
Avery Johnson inside.
There's a time when they didn't play the pick and roll well and they get burned again. Avery Johnson doing nothing but shooting layups.
How about the great screen by Rodman, that one-dimensional player?
Yep. Robert Horry lost it inside.
If you can't score and Rodman cannot score, you better set screens and you better rebound the ball, and that allows somebody that can score to get the hoop.
Houston has turned it over 6 times. Johnson inside, no call. Cummings. Oh, Terry Cummings. And this call goes against Terry Cummings. He fouled Olajuwon. Terry Cummings has come off the bench to provide some spark for the Spurs, who are within 4 with 2:53 to play in the first half.
Halftime report will be joined live by the Pacers' Reggie Miller, one of the heroes of yesterday's Game 4 win over the Magic. Indiana tied that series at 2 apiece with a dramatic 94-93 win. We'll also get the thoughts of Julius Erving and Peter Vesey on Indiana's victory, as well as on the first half of the Rockets and Spurs. Houston leads it by 4 as we head back to the Alamo Dome and rejoin Gumbel, Jones, Walton, and Storm.
Rudy Tomjanovich talking to his team. The San Antonio philosophy has been to run the Rockets because they feel that they tire easily. Well, take a look at the calendar. This game is the Rockets' 17th in 34 days. By comparison, San Antonio's 14th game in 33 days. Does it make a difference?
Yes, it does. That's the price you pay for not having a great regular season on the road, having to win the deciding game time and time again. It wears you out mentally, having to be fighting off that road crowd all the time. It's breathing down your neck.
Well, what about adrenaline, Steve?
I think that when a team's in a groove, and Houston has been in a groove of playing every other day, they play well. Now, you were the same guy that said you love to win in front of a hostile crowd. Now you're saying it wears you down?
But it takes its toll. What happens is that a great player like Hakeem, he can do it. What about the rest of these guys out here? They got to do something.
San Antonio's bench, again, outscoring Houston's. It's been that way much of this series. Sean Elliott.
Elliott has been held down with foul troubles, but this has been a very balanced scoring quarter for the San Antonio Spurs. They've got to ride Olajuwon the rest of the way, and that means Ori and Prince got to make some hoops.
Loose ball, taken back by Rodman.
Terrific defense, Rodman.
Oh, what a pass from Avery Johnson. Elliott was out of bounds when he took the pass, but what a pass by Avery Johnson.
Now, Sam Cassell makes a terrific play, steals it a couple of times, and then Rodman steals it back.
But the look-away pass that frees up Elliott along the baseline. Hakeem in the post.
Olajuwon, the jump hook. He and Terry Cummings have been waging war down low.
Cummings, he'll bump you off. He's solid as a rock down there, and he has learned how to use that leverage, that strength for position.
Hakeem has 20. We are under 2 minutes to play.
Team's got plenty of 40-point games in these playoffs.
Avery Johnson out of the corner.
What they got to do is run at Avery Johnson. He's got his confidence up now, and I don't think he's missed a shot, so they've got to run at him and make him feel some pressure.
And Cassell wanted an illegal on Rodman.
Olajuwon again overcoming.
But see, right away, San Antonio's up. Somebody's got to slow down that entry pass on the main basket. Make Avery Johnson come back to the ball.
Elliott short with the jumper. The Spurs had hit 5 straight before that miss.
Spurs play 2 for 1 here. Shoot at 40.
Olajuwon. This one with the back rim, and Cummings takes it out.
Olajuwon really does not want to pick up a second foul here.
40 seconds for the half. Avery Johnson goes all the way through. Elliott. Taken away by Elliott. 3-on-2 Rockets. Cassell with the fall away. No. Ori. Fouled by Johnson. Let's go back to the Avery Johnson pass to Sean Elliott. Elliott was ruled out of bounds. Let's take a look.
The pass was right on the money. The defense didn't have any idea where Sean Elliott was. As you come there, yeah, his foot was on the baseline.
Don't you like it when Steve plays master detective? Robert Ori doesn't get the bounce.
Houston got nothing out of that fast break. They take Hakeem out. He doesn't pick up his foul. He's done his job. Now the rest is up to somebody else.
Robert Ori, who does he look like to you?
Fresh Prince.
You bet. We called him that the other day, and he laughed like he hadn't heard it before.
Well, he missed both of those free throws like a guy really had a collar around his neck. Both of them real short.
I think he shot those free throws like the Fresh Prince. 15 seconds to play.
What are you guys talking about?
We'll explain it to you at halftime, Bill.
Please.
Elliott out front, and they're going to run out of time.
0.2 of a second left. They're going to maybe even move it back and put some more time on the clock for the Houston Rockets. The half is not over yet.
It'll be Houston ball.
I get the ball to Ellie or Cassell here on the run. Cassell hit a big half-court shot in the Phoenix series to end the first half.
Do they have a quick finger here in San Antonio or what?
Now that's home cooking right there. You got to touch the ball.
Orlando wanted that guy up in Indianapolis yesterday.
So we'll reset to .2 and try it again.
Now they should go back to .6. Nobody touched the ball.
He never touched it before the horn went off.
.6 it is.
Even Bob Hill is laughing on that one. Hugh Evans.
So Chucky Brown will inbound again. And Ori will hold on to it. That's the first half of play. Game 5, Western Conference Finals. Team looking for a 3-2 lead in this best-of-7, 50-45. Rockets, Olajuwon and Robinson leading the way as usual. Bob Costas with the Prudential halftime report coming up.
Alamodome in San Antonio, where the Rockets lead the Spurs by 5. Of concern for San Antonio, 14 turnovers compared to 7 for Houston. Hannah Storm along with Spurs head coach Bob Hill. Bob, how do you take better care of the ball in the second half?
Well, it was kind of funny. We started out at a slow pace. We were running too many set plays. I got to 20. I said, this is not how we're going to win the game. And we came out of that 20, tried to pick the pace up, ended up throwing the ball all over the gym. So they've got 13 more shots at the basket at halftime. That's pretty much the difference in the game. We just got to come back out and play the way we're supposed to play, take better care of the ball, and stay aggressive. I think we'll be okay. Hakeem's, there's not much he can do when he's making shots like that.
All right, Coach, good luck in the second half.
Thanks,
Greg?
All right, Hannah, Greg Gumbel, Bill Walton, Steve Jones. Really no surprises in the first half. For Houston, it's been Hakeem and very little else.
And they really need somebody else because he is not going to be able to do it all by himself. Drexler was hot early. It was Cassell a little bit. But guys like Smith and Ellie and Ori, they've got to do something. Somebody please make a shot for Houston if they're going to have a chance to win.
Meanwhile, for the Spurs, you say Avery Johnson, your leading scorer at halftime. What's going on here?
Well, it's a surprise, but David Robinson said a lot in the end of the second quarter. But Avery Johnson, Doc Rivers got them balanced in their scoring. The guards are back in the game. That's something that San Antonio desperately needs. So they've got to support people scoring hoops.
Series tied at 2 games apiece. Game 6 set for the Summit in Houston Thursday night here on NBC.
Drexler has to get off early.
Olajuwon does.
The snap on that shot. He is so determined tonight, playing with the confidence and poise of a champion.
Let's see if the Houston Rockets recover the defensive energy that they had early. David Robinson travels on that one, so Olajuwon avoids getting a call. Robinson not happy, and he's doing like Hakeem said. You have to explain these moves to the officials because they don't understand the big guys are covering a lot of ground, and they're not trying.
We were marveling at some of the moves Hakeem had earlier in this series, and Hakeem says, well, you get called for traveling because the officials don't understand me.
I think he's right.
And Sean Elliott gets called for the foul here.
I mean, that's like a tennis umpire telling John McEnroe that his shot is no good.
Yeah, the game gets held up a lot longer, doesn't it?
Third personal on Elliott. You know, sometimes the comparisons you draw just amaze me. We will talk about that one all the way back to Houston tonight.
Going in Steve's motorhome there, hopefully.
The Houston Rockets like to post Drexler, and they got a good early call against Elliott. That's his third, so we'll watch the defense of Sean Elliott against Clyde Drexler.
13 for Drexler, 54-45 Houston. That one blocked. Robert Horry, who has stepped up defensively here tonight.
Hakeem still with one foul. Big factor.
Drexler again.
If you can just keep that going as opposed to the decline. Bob Hill and San Antonio, they need a timeout big time.
Bob Hill gets it with 10:46 to play. The Rockets have come out of the locker room on fire here in the third quarter.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers. And by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Houston 56, San Antonio 45. Welcome back to the Alamo Dome. It starts with the turnover.
Welcome back to continued turnover problems for San Antonio. That's 16 for the game, and Drexler finding the high arcing long-range jump shot, and Bob Hill says, enough of this. Timeout. Let's play basketball instead of giving it away.
Avery Johnson, Dennis Rodman, Del Negro, David Robinson, and Sean Elliott on the floor for the Spurs.
Here's a guy, Del Negro, that really has to get off the dime.
Del Negro, 19 points in each of the last 2 games, and that's his first 2 of the day.
Clyde Drexler reaching in from behind, playing with 3 fouls. Never gamble there.
Now they change assignments. Rodman's now guarding Clyde Drexler, so that means Robert Horry's got Sean Elliott. They got to look for Robert Horry to go down on the post and try to get the 4th foul.
Drexler with the fall away.
Horry finally on the boards. Drexler should turn and face, get drive from the perimeter. That's not Rodman's strength anymore.
Kenny Smith having a quiet night so far. Saddled with foul trouble. Olajuwon jump hook. Off the bounce. Hakeem has 26.
He's not waiting. He's not hesitating. There's no pump faking here.
Elliott floats inside.
There's Elliott taking advantage of his size against Drexler. He may look for more of that.
What terrific defense by Robinson.
Olajuwon with the jump hook.
Well, they want an offensive foul. All of the Spurs fans are up, but he got David Robinson off and then leaned in, and Robinson having a few words with the officials. This is a man that's very calm and draining the energy out of David Robinson right now. Robinson's got to get busy at this end of the floor.
And he does. And whistle blows before he made his move. Foul is on Olajuwon. That's number 2.
You know, when you're getting torched at one end of the floor, then you've got to be aggressive at the other end of the floor and get some numbers against the guy that's defending. In Game 4, they neutralized each other, but David Robinson has not come out attacking like he did in that game.
That last foul, almost an automatic after they let the earlier one go. Now the tide starts to swing in San Antonio's favor.
Mario Elliott, his 3rd personal up top.
3 perimeter guys for Houston. Kenny Smith, Drexler, and now Elliott, all with 3. Very thin team in terms of top to bottom depth.
Robinson, nice move by David Robinson. For Robinson, that is 12 tonight.
Hakeem just not ready, not alert on the inbound of the ball.
And Hakeem lost that one out of bounds, and it's Houston ball.
This is what David Robinson has to do the remainder of the game, attack. And when he turns and faces, that's when he's at best at the offensive end. He doesn't like to play with his back to the basket, so he's got to look at Olajuwon, find him, and then go by.
10 on the clock.
Olajuwon, baseline, no. Tapped out of bounds by the Rockets.
Looked like the type of play that Rodman usually controls. He's just going to go to the hoop every time now.
Robinson draws the foul.
He should. I mean, if you're getting beat one way, you got to come back and make this guy think about you. And now David Robinson is very aggressive. This is how he hurt him in game 4. Even after he pushed off, he had the foul, so he'll go to the line.
That is 3 on Olajuwon. And Robinson to shoot 2.
Olajuwon went through the first half with just 1. Bang, bang, too quickly.
And he doesn't have Olajuwon the advantage of anybody who can come in and play behind him the way Terry Cummings can.
We have a timeout on the floor. 8 minutes, 8 seconds to play in the third. It's a 7-point game. The Rockets 60 and San Antonio 53. And this is the NBA on NBC. Ditty born of our great love for Broadway show tunes, but it does hit the battle in the middle between 2 superstar centers in the NBA, and those are their numbers so far this evening.
I thought they were trying to cut down on the trash talking and the taunting in the NBA. Interesting for the game, though, San Antonio only has 1 offensive rebound. They had 24 offensive rebounds in game 4, which was a romp in their favor. Where is Dennis Rodman?
On the floor, but so far not dominating the way he can. Batted into the backcourt. Kenny Smith recovers. And Charles Jones is now on the floor for the first time this evening for Houston. Shot clock is at 2. Drexler has to throw it up, and it's a shot clock violation. Want to remind you, coming up tomorrow night here on NBC, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Game 5, the Indiana Pacers and the Orlando Magic. I don't know. Can you come up with one like they did yesterday?
How about that song that we just had for that game yesterday at the end? First Shaw, then Reggie, then Penny, then Smits. Goodness gracious sakes alive.
Seven-point lead for the Rockets. And a whistle down low. Charles Jones fouled David Robinson.
Rudy Tomjanovich done a good thing here. He realized that Hakeem's got 3. He brings in Charles Jones to play the power forward, but to defend against David Robinson. Did not let Hakeem pick up any more fouls.
Team foul situation negative for the Houston Rockets right now. They've got 4. Robinson looking to try to get the 5th.
Well, this is MVP time right here for David Robinson.
Sean Elliott moves his way inside. Spurs standing around on offense that trip down court. Elliott has 10.
But the way Kenny Smith is playing is not making any difference.
The turnover and an Avery Johnson basket. Houston by 3. Drexler up top with the shot clock at 5. Dishes for Jones, blocked by Robinson. And the shot clock violation for a second straight trip down court.
Great play by David Robinson to rotate along the baseline, basically denying everybody. MVP rising to the top. Rudy Tomjanovich finally takes Kenny Smith out and comes with Sam Cassell.
A couple of mistakes, and the Houston Rockets lose the momentum that they had built coming out. Now they've got to gear it down and start all over again, but they're going to go through David Robinson. I mean, Robinson has, ever since that jump hook was scored on him, really picked him up.
Olajuwon comes down with the rebound.
Hakeem forced the miss, got the rebound over Rodman. Now he's going to hit a jumper, probably a three. What else can the guy do?
Sam Cassell gets the bounce. So Cassell off the bench, onto the floor, and onto the scoreboard again. He has 10. Vinny Del Negro with a quick pop.
That's when Vinny is at his best, when he can catch the ball in a rhythm and fire away.
Olajuwon back outside. And another Rocket turnover. Cute little pass from Dennis Rodman behind the back.
It's David Robinson's defense, though. He's not plagued with fouls. He's fresher.
Olajuwon quiets the crowd.
This crowd's not going to stay quiet. They may take a deep breath.
30 for Hakeem Olajuwon. Avery Johnson left wide open for the two. And this one goes against Dennis Rodman, who is arguing the call.
Bob Hill pleading with Rodman to get away from Kersey and don't pick up a technical foul. The flow is going for San Antonio.
And now Rodman going back at Hugh Evans.
Battling with Hakeem underneath.
Punched the ball out of bounds, but what got them back in the game is a trap, and Houston's going to have to move the ball, move people a little bit quicker in order to beat it. They can get easy hoops.
Robert Horry back to the basket and drew the foul.
Kept alive by Charles Jones.
That is 4 on Sean Elliott.
Big time effort by Horry to use his body to get the angle, and Sean Elliott has to sit down, and Elliott was just starting to feel it here in the third quarter, so fouls have really taken him out of the game rhythm.
Chuck Person will replace Elliott on the floor.
The Rodman matchup on Drexler has been effective for San Antonio. That surprises me.
3-point play by Horry. He has 9, and the Rockets lead it by 4.
But the reason it's been effective is Drexler has been getting the ball against the shot clock. The one time he drove, he made a great play for Charles Jones, who got it blocked.
Good defense, Charles Jones again.
Del Negro to Robinson, and it counts.
San Antonio Spurs have become aggressive, and it's paid dividends for them at the offensive end, but this one probably should have been a no call. Charles Jones just happened to be there. David Robinson initiating the contact.
San Antonio twice down by 16 in the first quarter. The Spurs are now within 1. They have never led in this game. Olajuwon into the lane, jump hook. Olajuwon with 32. He had 41 in game 2, 43 in game 3.
Robinson says, I can't match this guy in 40-point games, so he's got to play his game, which he's starting to do now, and they can win the game without it.
Cassell batted it away, Drexler, and the foul is on Robinson. That's number 3 on David David Robinson.
Drexler very lucky to get a foul there.
Well, and I thought you said he was having back problems over there. Watch David Robinson chase this thing down. First he pokes it away. It pops to Clyde, who's going in, and he's going to just blow by, and David Robinson never gives up on the play.
I would hope not. Wasn't it his turnover that started it? Now it's time for Clyde Drexler to continue a streak here. He's got to get the Spurs back on their heels defensively. So when you turn and face rather than play with your back to the basket.
Drexler has 17. Rockets lead 71-66, and the goaltend call. Credit Avery Johnson with the basket. Avery with 18 tonight.
Yeah, he's had a solid game. He's been able to set things up, and now he's got Cassell guessing after Cassell had him under control.
Dennis Salvatore blows the whistle in the middle.
Back to San Antonio's last play on the offensive end. Avery Johnson just going right at
Chuck Person, his second personal.
field goals this quarter. Both teams shooting magnificently. Drexler earning more and more trips to the line. Avery Johnson, though, in one of those zones where even a good defender like Cassell can do nothing with them.
Drexler now 4 out of 5 from the line tonight.
What the Rockets are trying to do is weather this hot streak that the San Antonio Spurs started in the second quarter. Clyde missed them both.
Did David Robinson push the ball up court?
Person was standing out of bounds, looked like.
Out of bounds to Houston. Robinson lost it out of bounds. 18 turnovers. And Robinson comes back to make the steal. And it rolls out of bounds. David Robinson is moving from one end of the court to the other tonight.
This would be a man possessed, a turnover at the other end, not happy with the call, knocks it away, couldn't get his hands on it, but a big time effort from David Robinson.
David himself has turned it over 7 times this evening. Olajuwon falling away. Here comes Johnson. 3-on-1. Robinson blocked and fouled.
Robert Horry.
That's 2 on Horry. Let's take a look again at David Robinson. He wants the ball.
He's begging for that ball. He's tired of getting faced up on the defensive set offensive end. Hakeem has been torturing him in the chamber down low. He's getting it back in other ways, though. Can never get frustrated. Got to do what you can do.
Robinson now 5 out of 7 from the line.
That free throw was one of fatigue. He has been running hard for the last 3 possessions. Probably should have taken a little bit more time. Let's see if he does it on this one.
Rattles it home, 71-69. Houston by 2 as we come up on 3 minutes to play for the third quarter.
Rodman on Drexler.
Drexler looking for the foul, didn't get the call. The Spurs. Person steps inside the three-point line. And Del Negro chases it down.
Rodman's presence forced the tap out. Hakeem and Horry unable to just snatch it.
Pick and roll up top with Rodman. Del Negro will keep it. Tie game. Cassell blocked by Robinson and a goaltend.
One of the ways to beat a defensive pressure outside is to have someone cut to the hoop. David Robinson got there late.
Oh, that was a great block. Got there late. Come on.
Del Negro on the drive. Robinson on the offensive glass, can't convert. Here come the Rockets.
Hakeem's on the run.
Cassell on the drive ends up in about the third row.
Now the playoffs are in full swing.
Dennis Rodman with his third personal.
They haven't been in full swing.
Hey, they're not calling the fouls underneath the basket. They're running out. They're pushing. Robinson getting jobbed on the bad call on the block there.
Steve, I told you at the top of the day he'd be paying attention tonight. Sam Cassell, 3 out of 3 from the line. 4 for 4.
Person out, Willie Anderson in. I think that Bob Hill wants a little bit more mobility out there, not just a deep threat, so Person has to sit down.
Person's also one of those players. If he doesn't make the first run, hey, get him out and find somebody who can.
Cassell with 2 free throws to give the Rockets a 4-point lead. 75-71 Houston.
Houston keeps bouncing back.
And the whistle blows down low. David Robinson looks like he'll go to the line again. Clyde Drexler with his 4th.
They gave David Robinson a pop on the way through and got caught, threw up that forearm.
So Robinson back at the free throw line. Robinson with 19. Here's the foul.
A year ago, that play probably wouldn't have been called, but this year they're calling all kind of contact. Drexler complaining about it. What you're trying to do as he goes to the bench is keep David Robinson from having a clean cut to the basket.
Clyde was just trying to keep him getting run over by a bulldozer coming through the lane there.
Houston by 2.
Are we watching the same game?
Robinson is playing terrific right now. They got to get him the ball more and more.
Now trying to get the ball to Robert Horry.
Horry double team. Shot clock is at 6. Ellie kicks to Olajuwon at the buzzer. Got it. Hakeem Olajuwon with 34.
With 2 guys hanging right on him, yet they still haven't solved. Houston has not solved San Antonio's push out of the net.
But they have been able to hold off the surge, and they still hold on to their lead.
Del Negro shot short. Olajuwon the uncontested rebound, and Cassell pushes. Robert Horry on the drive.
And more than that, that's the most important thing. The game got tied. San Antonio didn't go over the top. Houston came back, and now they're running, and Robert Horry steps up, and he'll have a chance for a 3-point play.
Just when Houston looks like they're on the brink of collapse, Horry looks like he can't do another thing from exhaustion. He completes a 3-point play on the break.
And the Rockets lead by 7. A different Houston team than we saw on Sunday afternoon, which lost its composure with a few bad calls.
That's the Avery Johnson that they want to shoot. They don't know who the other guy has been. He misses that one badly. They were in a 2-for-1 situation.
Go to Hakeem again right here.
Last 40 seconds of the period. Cassell works his way inside.
We talked about someone else having to play great. Cassell and Horry in the last minute here.
Cassell has 16. Johnson.
Olajuwon got a piece of that, and Horry makes the save.
Rodman, who usually comes out with those rebounds, has not.
15 seconds left in the quarter.
Shot clock differential about 3 seconds. Trying to get the ball to Olajuwon.
He's got to hurry off the baseline. Rodman with the rebound. And that'll do it for the quarter. A big quarter for the Houston Rockets. They withstood the charge. They lead it 82-73 with 12 minutes to play. And we'll come back to San Antonio after these messages and a word from your local station. Welcome back to the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. 82-73 Houston. And looky here. You guys may not know your baseball as well as you know, but you know about the Ryan Express, do you not?
That's Bob Costas' friend, right?
Author of 7 no-hitters and 300-plus wins. Clyde Drexler, we talked about how his production in fourth quarters has fallen off. Let's see what he does today.
Right now, he's going to sit because he's got foul trouble. That's not something you jump up and down and go yippee over.
The last 2 ball games, he did not score in the fourth, and they will try to bring a fresher Drexler in as David Robinson goes back to work.
Misses everything. Ellie pulls it down.
Charles Jones, solid defense, forcing the fadeaway jumper. Rodman, 5 points, 10 rebounds. The rebound story is all in the favor of Houston today.
This is the guy right here dribbling the ball that's made a difference in them getting the lead back.
Robinson pulls down the Ori miss.
Sam Cassell, just when you think he's about dead and not doing anything, steps up. He's had a huge third quarter. See if he can continue into the fourth.
Robinson, another jump. So David Robinson starting out a perimeter player here in the fourth.
One of the questions about San Antonio has always been the go-to guy. Who's it going to be when it's all on the line?
Olajuwon. Oh.
They know who they have in Houston.
Well, David Robinson is the go-to guy, but he's got to remember how he's hurt his opponent, driving that ball to the hoop and then taking the medium-range jump shot.
Bob Hill says the adjustments that we made in Game 4 are not working here in Game 5.
Well, watch Olajuwon, and this tells you just how hot he is. He doesn't really have good control of that ball until he gets it up in the air, but it's money, and he has worn down the interior of the Spurs.
The thrills continue. Game 5 Wednesday in prime time on NBC.
Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Today's Miller Genuine Draft Genuine Playoff Moment takes us back to Game 5 of last season's Western Conference Final between Houston and Utah. Robert Horry and Hakeem Olajuwon, 22 points each, as the Rockets defeated the Utah Jazz 94-83. In recognition of this moment, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Sam Cassell comes off the Houston bench where he was having his elbow iced down a little bit.
Longtime trainer Ray Melchiori, one of the NBA's premier trainers.
94-73, 10:38 to play in regulation.
Now Bob Hill has changed his lineup.
Olajuwon, Charles Jones going for the steal and drew the personal. Let's check in with Hannah Storm.
Very emotional, extremely frustrated bunch in the San Antonio huddle. Bob Hill told his team they want this game more than we do. He said, you're buying into everything that everyone's saying about how tough the Rockets are. You've got to be mentally tough. We have to play harder than they do. But he sense a little bit of desperation in the huddle, Greg.
All right, Hannah, the Spurs have lost 3 straight games here at home. The Rockets have won 4 straight on the road. Doc Rivers, top of the key, 3-pointer, doesn't fall, and a whistle blows. J.R. Reed just knocked Hakeem Olajuwon into the next county.
Not a good idea. They'll never let that one go. Hakeem Olajuwon, former MVP.
Well, it's not like he's a little guy.
Doc Rivers had this shot, and he had it going early. This one short, and a push.
But why would Horry double up with Hakeem on Reed down low to give Doc Rivers that shot?
Sam Cassell for 3.
That's why they were icing him down, to make sure that he stayed hot.
Sudden Sam has 19.
Oh! Big play by Sean Elliott because Olajuwon got a piece of that one.
87-75, Houston.
Houston cannot get conservative. They've got to keep attacking, keep with their threes, no fakes.
Olajuwon again. Hakeem with 38.
Now, this offensive unit that Bob Hill has is in to do one thing, score points. Rivers, Elliott, Avery Johnson, and J.R. Reed. So you got to look for them to try to score the ball, led by David Robinson. Should have been a charge.
Robinson gets the roll. Robinson has 22.
And I'd rather they call nothing out there. Was it the fourth quarter of the playoff? They're going for the championship.
Cassell got the roll, and he'll go to the line.
If you had your way, they'd be playing football. This is a guy that seems to come up big. Remember the New York series when he came up big for them, and tonight is another one of those examples. Kenny Smith is struggling, not taking care of the ball, not defending. Cassell comes in. And huge.
Averaging 9 points a game in the playoffs. He's going for number 22 at the free throw line now.
Cassell is one of those guys who plays his best when it's all on the line.
And they're down 15, and what the San Antonio Spurs have to do is reestablish themselves at the offensive end. They had a hot shooting third quarter, and they can't force or rush shots. They have plenty of time to get back in the game.
Charles Jones is playing Super Bowl in a relative sense for Houston.
That one doesn't fall. Rodman grabs his 11th rebound of the night.
What is a relative sense?
We're never going to confuse Charles Jones with Hakeem Olajuwon. That's a relative sense. But that's a darn good rebound.
You should have had it.
Avery Johnson out of the corner. Avery Johnson, what a story he is. There are only 5 NBA players who have improved their scoring average in each of their first 7 seasons, and Avery Johnson is one of them. Whistle blows, and the foul is on David Robinson. There is A.J.
Well, Avery Johnson, after struggling in the first 2 games, has come up huge in the last 3. 20 points tonight, a big impact, but they're going to try to ride Olajuwon down the stretch to see if they can't continue to keep their lead.
Dump it back to him.
The fadeaway. Around and out. Look at Cassell, who got shoved, and he'll go to the line.
Hakeem has lost his rhythm a little bit offensively. Might have taken steps to get that shot off. But then everybody's standing around. Rodman didn't have to block out Charles Jones that much. He's not quick to the ball, Rodman.
Maybe we're back to that heat check of yours. Maybe that shot, because the guy's been tortured, was a heat check. You know, he's only got 38 points, and you say he's losing a little bit of his offensive rhythm.
When you're hot, you got to test and see how hot you are.
Sam Cassell has 23.
But he's got 6 in the quarter, working to get 8. So, you know, he along with Olajuwon have pushed the lead.
Houston 94, San Antonio 79. Sam Cassell has helped boost that Houston bench on top of the Spurs.
He's got all their points.
Oh, that's helping.
Illegal defense. Too many guys from the weak side collapsing in, not staying with your man, not keeping the lane open so the superstars can strut their stuff.
Willie Anderson into the ball game. Avery Johnson sits down, so they're going to try to post Doc Rivers against Sam Cassell.
Rivers, Hakeem with the block.
Push the ball if you're Houston. Don't play with a 15-point lead.
Hakeem for Cassell.
Now they're cutting to the basket, and the San Antonio defense is definitely confused. Bob Hill says, we can't stand anymore. They got to have a timeout.
Olajuwon started it with the block.
Hakeem Olajuwon coming in the zone himself, slaps it off, kicks it out, and then dumps it off. The layup, Cassell slashing.
7 minutes, 7 seconds to play. This is a 20-second timeout, and We said way back at the beginning of the telecast, Hakeem Olajuwon couldn't do it by himself. He needed help. And if it wasn't going to be Clyde Drexler, who would it be? Turns out, Sam Cassell.
Horry's had some good moments. Charles Jones has played well in a non-statistical way, but Cassell has been the man who's put the points on the board.
10 and a quarter, but they've got balance. Drexler has not come back in the game. He had 17 sitting down. Horry has 12. Olajuwon 38. Mario Elliott has been able to kick in a few points. So the balance that was missing from games 3 and 4 comes back here in a big way. Maybe they should just stay here. They love the Alamo Dome.
Well, against the Phoenix Suns, Sam Cassell averaged just 6 points a game and shot under 30% from the floor.
Now steal by Cassell.
Rockets in a hurry. Horry missed the layup. Rodman with the rebound.
Playing with 3 fouls. He's going to need all of them. Don't pick up a silly one in the backcourt. Rivers. Oh.
Another block for Olajuwon. 3 blocks for Olajuwon tonight.
In this series, Greg, we've got the last 5 defensive players of the years. Rodman 2 times. David Robinson 1 time. Hakeem Olajuwon 2 times. Slap. No. Not here.
The official sports drink of the Olympic Games. By Castrol Syntec, the full synthetic motor oil that protects in ways other oils can't. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, making the world a very cool place.
The Rockets 96, the Spurs 79, 6:40 to play in regulation time. Back in 1981, these same 2 teams met in the Western Conference semifinals. The home team lost 5 games in that series. George Gervin led the Spurs to victories in Houston, but it was Calvin Murphy's 42 points in San Antonio in Game 7 that sent the Rockets on to the conference finals.
Didn't they have lights on in the building in those days?
The Iceman, George Gervin. Boy, he could shoot the ball a little bit, couldn't he?
Not only could he shoot, he could finger roll as well. George Gervin, one of the great offensive players of all time. Still employed by the Spurs.
Call a foul on Doc Rivers on that last possession. After he had the shot block, he pulled Robert Horry off the ball.
Robert Horry, 3 out of 5 now from the line. And 13 points.
And 13 rebounds. What a huge turnaround from a disappointing game for Horry. 6 points and 6 boards the entire game at home.
98-79. Elliott. And he drew the foul. We remind you once again, Eastern Conference Finals continue tomorrow night from Orlando, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Reggie Miller and the Pacers, Shaquille O'Neal and the Magic. That series tied at 2 games apiece.
Hakeem Olajuwon just picked up his 4th foul. Critical there. It looked like Sean Elliott did the old ninja kick himself on the offensive drive to the hoop.
He did. He led with his foot. Olajuwon never got to him, and all the Rockets are saying, what about that foot? But Sean Elliott gets the call, so they get a little break.
Sean Elliott's wife says, way to go, hubby. 2 free throws, 6.5 to play, 98-81.
Got to come to the ball now. San Antonio's going to start trapping. Can't run away from it and let dribblers try to make it happen.
Well, what the Rockets got to do is continue to go through Olajuwon and cut to the basket. If they do that, they clear, and Olajuwon has a chance to go one-on-one. Shot clock at 4. 40. 40, count it.
That's a facial.
You know, we talked about Dennis Rodman at the top of the show. He was late for practice. As a result, he didn't start tonight. You consider that a distraction for the San Antonio Spurs?
Well, I consider the guy in the middle more of a distraction for him. Olajuwon. He's toward the Rodman does not have it today. Whether he's sick or he's right, he doesn't have the same energy that he brought in Game 4. Maybe it's an old Dennis Rodman, and he can't give it back-to-back.
Well, Bob Hill says he's 34 years old, and not every player can come and perform the same way every night.
Well, maybe there were some really good cartoons or something on TV early yesterday morning, and he just couldn't get here on time. I mean, what else would you be doing when you're playing for the Western Conference Finals? This is your life.
They wanted a goaltend. They didn't get it.
Well, it wasn't goaltending. That was called a great block. Hakeem with a bundle.
His third 40-point performance of this series.
But he's got 4 fouls now. A lot of time left, an eternity.
Drexler's back in the ball game, and what San Antonio has to do is find the rhythm, find a way to get the ball in the hoop.
Robinson on the offensive glass. No. Rivers, and the whistle blows a foul on Sam Cassell. That's number 3 on Cassell. Talking about the Nigerian nightmare. How about those for numbers?
He has been all of that for the San Antonio Spurs, and they've got to figure out a way in the 5 minutes here to regain the game that they thought they had when they left Houston.
Wild shot.
Missed everything.
And a silly foul by Doc Rivers.
Remember how we talked about how the Rockets had lost their composure coming down the stretch. They had to do something to reestablish themselves. Rudy, you know, he's like that movie where the kid just never gives up, and somehow he gets this team to keep coming back and getting the job done.
And once again, we are seeing the road court advantage at work.
When you're a road player like Hakeem Olajuwon, you have, to this point, achieved your ultimate dream. The home fans booing and walking out early.
Meanwhile, Sam Cassell, 25 points coming into the game tonight. He has 27 as he stands there at the line now, and also showing the Spurs it doesn't pay to foul him. 9 out of 9 from the line, 10 out of 10. 102-81 as we come up on 5 minutes to play in the game.
Person in the game, Willie Anderson in the game. David Robinson lost control of that.
Two blocks by Olajuwon. Give him 5 for the night.
At the start of the game, we asked whether Hakeem was just tired on Sunday or if David Robinson had figured it out. I guess the extra 8 to 10 hours of the day game to the night game really helped Hakeem's freshness.
Drexler off the pass from Olajuwon.
Well, that breaks Clyde's streak of being shut out in the 4th quarter. And when you cut to the basket, good things happen for you. And they have tortured San Antonio with slashes, turnover.
And now Willie Anderson throws it away. Want to remind you tonight, following your local news, don't miss The Tonight Show with Jay Leno tonight. Jay welcomes movie star George Hamilton, musical guest The Highwaymen, featuring Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson. All new on The Tonight Show right after your local news here on NBC.
Now that sounds like a good show. Olajuwon's 5 blocks have all been in the 4th quarter.
42 for Olajuwon.
Steve, you go guard it.
Hey, they may as well forget about
He
that.
can't do any worse.
I mean, the big fella gets congratulated by David Robinson. He knows he's through for the night. He has been scorched again, and he'll have to think about it. All they can do right now is try to regroup and be prepared for Game 6.
David Robinson, 22 points, 12 rebounds. Cummings foul. Let's see if they call this one on Olajuwon.
This is one of those games as Hakeem will go sit down. This is one of those games where everybody else was just lucky to be in the building.
And the San Antonio fans giving him a well-deserved round of applause. 42 points, 9 rebounds, 5 block shots.
One of the great things about Hakeem Olajuwon, even though he did not get the MVP, is acknowledge the fact that David Robinson deserved this year's MVP. One of the real class gentlemen in this league. Never badmouths his teammates. Always a positive role model on and off the court. Is a fierce competitor.
Sounds a lot like you.
No. He said class and never badmouth his teammate.
Terry Cummings at the line. .83 Houston.
There were 36,000 in here. They jammed the building. About half of the building is empty now as they know that this one's done.
The upper deck is still full.
Willie Anderson takes it away from Drexler. And Drexler strips the ball back out of bounds, San Antonio. You know, you guys are sitting here bickering, but it's important to point out to our audience that you guys do have some history. You go back to the Portland Trail Blazers.
Oh, there's that really good picture again.
Well,
that's a bad angle. That's a really bad angle.
And take a look at Mr. Jones there, number 23. That was the year that Gillette was on strike.
That was the year Steve froze me out. I could never get the ball.
Well, those shooters need their shots. On the bench, the hero of tonight's game for the Rockets, Hakeem Olajuwon. 19 of 30, 42 points, 9 rebounds. Add to that 5 block shots and 8 assists. He wins his personal duel with David Robinson, 22 and 12.
David Robinson's got to think of a way to get in it. He started in the third quarter, got very aggressive, but it was too much of that guy tonight. He took command and kept command, and the Houston Rockets turned a 20-point loss into a 20-point victory in a short span of time, and we can't say anything about momentum because we don't know who has it.
David Robinson was hurt badly by the 7 turnovers that he had in the game.
And you know what? They get to do battle again Thursday night in Game 6 at the Summit in Houston. 30 points for Sam Cassell, 12 out of 12 from the free throw line. Avery Johnson.
Now think about this, though. At one point in the third quarter, San Antonio had only missed 1 shot and only got to tie the game. Now, that's a disheartening effort, and they just broke down in the fourth, and that's the reason that Houston was so convincing.
They're down 25 on their home court.
So what's new?
I guess staying in the hotel.
Things just get curiouser and curiouser in this world.
By Drexler. And Cummings with the rebound.
The last coach that tried to simulate road conditions was John Lucas. He had his team stay in a hotel, and they lost by 38. And that was earlier this season.
Pete Chilcutt just knocking down jumpers. You got to feel good for the young man who's worked so hard to get to this level.
Terry Cummings answers with a 3. A 2.
Chilcutt had been a starter down the stretch.
2 minutes to play. And timeout, Houston. The Rockets on their way to a 3-2 lead in this series and a 5th straight victory on the road. Just a notch under 2 minutes remaining in this Game 5. Houston will grab a 3-2 lead in this best-of-7 series and have a chance to close it out at the Summit in Houston on Thursday night. Sam Cassell he doesn't look much like a bench, but he was tonight. He was the Houston bench. Meanwhile, Dennis Rodman not in the starting lineup. David Robinson outplayed the first 3 games of this series, came back strong in Game 4. Now they'll have to go back to the drawing board.
What San Antonio has to do is think about their running game. Think about what works for them, which is rebounding, push the ball, everybody involved, perimeter shooting, Robinson slashing, blocking.
Jack Haley with the turnaround. No.
You like Jack Haley primarily because of his tan, don't you, Bill?
Well, he took offense to the fact that I commented that he didn't have a tan last game. So today he went to the tanning salon and worked on it.
Gives new meaning to the term getting up for the game. San Antonio with a whopping 23 turnovers tonight to just 12 for the Rockets.
Big starts are so crucial in these decisive playoff games.
Tabak with the follow. And the whistle blows against him. The amazing thing about this will be San Antonio's 4th consecutive loss at home. This, the team with the best record in the NBA during the regular season.
Let's go back to the comment that Bob Hill made. His team has bought into the mental toughness of the Houston Rockets. Somehow in the next 24 hours, they're going to have another meeting. They're going to have to regroup, or otherwise they will see a great season, a great home court season go right down the drain to a bunch of guys in red.
When you say another meeting, the Spurs had a team meeting after losing the first 2 games in Houston, regrouped, came back strong, and won the next 2 games.
Let's not forget that the Houston Rockets are a very, very talented bunch, particularly because of one key guy, Hakeem Olajuwon, who had a perfect game tonight. What didn't he do? And when you can do that in the face of the other team, that's why the championships are on Jordan's mantle, on Magic's kitchen sink, on Larry Bird's tractor.
Once again, a reminder, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Late Night with Conan O'Brien follows your local news once we wrap things up here at the Alamo Dome. 45.4 seconds away. Chucky Brown to the line.
Well, that's Alexander, the owner, feels that this one's in hand. He's taking the money and he's headed for the bus. And David Robinson in a real studied position, thinking about how this one got away. And it turned out to be such a hammering loss.
Meanwhile, as we prepare to board our van for the transport back to Houston, what are we going to do about Walton's legs blocking the aisle?
We may leave him here.
I'm going. I am going.
Look at those things. They're forever legs.
Well, when you're 6'11", part of that has got to be legs.
Oh, wait a minute. You started the game, you were a 7-footer.
No,
a 7-footer.
I've always been 6'11". I dreamed about being 7 feet.
Welcome to the club.
No, see, here's the real story on 7 feet for Bill Walton. During the time that he played, there was a stigma about being 7 foot tall. And if you were 6'11", you were given more credit, more athleticism. So he's always been 6'11".
Boy, someone sure feeds you bad information. And you bought into that story?
35 seconds to play. Shot clock at 5. Mario Ellie hoists one up from three-point land. And Haley with the rebound. Chilcutt with the steal. And Kenny Smith will slow it down and run out the clock. Tomorrow night, Game 5, Indiana, Orlando. Here in Game 5, the Houston Rockets have grabbed the edge. 3 games to 2, 111-90 is the final score. Let's go to Hannah Storm. Hannah.
Hakeem, a spectacular performance. How did you guys achieve such a stunning turnaround after the 2 losses at home?
Well, after 2 disappointing losses at home, we had to regroup ourselves, but we were very lucky that the score is still tied, 2-2. So we came out here with confidence, with patience, and played team basketball.
Can you achieve a win at home? Translate this aggressiveness to your home court?
Well, I hope so.
All
right, Hannah. 3 games to 2. The Rockets will try to go home and win it on Thursday. From defending their title, they win it 111-90. They'll play again Thursday. For Steve Jones, Bill Walton, and Hannah Storm, I'm Greg Gumbel saying so long from San Antonio. This has been a presentation of the NBA on NBC.